Algebra 1, test number 10. Got through section 3.7, most recently 3.5. We did the formula problems and we did the word problems. Is test 10 study guide. First question asks you which one is an identity. Remember, in order to be an identity, it has to say the same thing on both sides of the equal sign. That way it'll be true for all numbers. You can look at A and see, even though it says negative 7y and negative 7y on both sides, one of them says 7, the other one says negative 8, so A doesn't work. 7m minus 2 is on the left of B. 8m, when you combine that with negative m, you get 7m plus 5. So again, there's 7m on both sides. But one of them says minus 2, the other one says plus 5. B doesn't work either. When we combine for C, 7w minus w is going to be 6w. There's still plus 6 equals, you have to distribute. Negative 2 times w is negative 2w. Negative 2 times negative 3 is plus 6. So we have 8w for that one. When you combine 8w and negative 2w, you get 6w plus 6. Notice this one right here is the same. It has the same 6w on both sides. It also has the same plus 6. So C is going to be the identity. If you went ahead and tried D, you would have negative 4v minus 3. So you'd have 10, positive 10 minus 4v on the left, and negative 4v, which is the same as what was on the left. So negative 4v is the same, but notice it says minus 10, positive 10 and minus 10, which makes it not correct. C is the correct one for number 1. Number 2, you're driving to visit a friend in another state who lives 440 miles away. You're driving 55 miles per hour and have already driven 275 miles. Write and solve an equation to find how much longer in hours you must drive to reach your destination. Distance equals rate times time. Distance equals rate times time. We are saying how much longer. So we're looking for a time measurement. In order to find time, remember, you get rid of rate times time by dividing by rate. If you do it there, divide it by here. So time is going to be distance divided by rate. This is the new formula that you want to use from the one that was written originally. So take the distance and divide it by the rate. Your rate is how fast you're driving, 55 miles per hour. And your distance is going to be an expression that says how far it was away originally minus how much you've already driven. So 440 miles minus 275 miles, because you have already driven that much. When you borrow from this one, 10 minus 5 is 5. You have to borrow one more time. 13 minus 7 is 6, and 3 minus 2 is 1. So your distance that you still have to drive is 165. So plug that in place of distance, 165, over your rate is going to be your time. Your rate, again, is how fast it was per hour. 55 miles per hour. Your distance was miles. Your rate is miles per hour. So when you cancel out miles divided by miles, notice you're left with hours. That's a time measurement. So that works. So some amount of hours is going to be equal to your time. And 165 divided by 55 is 3 hours. In 3 hours, you'll get to your friend's house. Number 3 says a customer went to a garden shop and bought some potting soil for $14 and 6 shrubs. The total bill was $63.50. Write and solve an equation to find the price of each shrub. Well, the cost of the potting soil plus the cost of or plus the amount of shrubs, so the number of shrubs, we'll just leave it like that, number of shrubs, times the cost of the shrubs, so the money of the shrubs, is equal to the total. So that would be your verbal model. We talked a lot about verbal models the last couple of days. So right here, just plug in the values you have. You know it's $14 for the soil, so $14 plus the number of shrubs. There were 6 of them, so 6 times. It says find out how much the price of each shrub costs. Anytime you don't know something, it's a variable. Equals the total. We know the total. It's here, $63.50. So now we have a simple equation that we have to undo. Add 14 to both sides. So subtract 14. If you do it there, do it here. $63.50 minus 14. You're going to have to borrow one once we get 50 right here. Borrow one from here. 13 minus 4 is going to be 9. 5 minus 1 is going to be $49.50. That part right there is going to cancel out. So you have 6 times x. Then get rid of 6 times something by dividing by 6. 6 divided by 49.50 divided by 6, I'm assuming it is 8. Thank you. It is $8. X is going to be $8.25. So what that's saying is that every shrub, or the cost of each shrub, is $8.25. Number 4 says Stephen wants to buy a $470 bicycle. He has no money saved, but he'll be able to save $35 or deposit. That means you're going up $35 into his savings account when he receives his check each Friday, so every week. However, before he can buy his bike, he must give his sister $90 he owes her. You know, if you owe somebody money, it's going to take away from your money. How many weeks will Stephen need to deposit money into his savings account before he can pay back his sister and buy the bike? Okay, so this is how we're going to write this equation. He's going to save $35 per week, 35x, so 35 times an unknown amount of weeks, minus $90, because that's how much he owes his sister. That's why it's minus, is equal to $470 for the bike. There's your equation. How much he's going to save each week minus what he owes is equal to the total. Undo the amount he owes. Again, it's just a regular equation with some big numbers is all it is. Undo minus 90 by adding it to both sides. So what it's saying is that instead of having to save $470, now he has to save $560. So $560 is equal to 35 times x, and divide by 35 on both sides. And when you divide by 35 on both sides, x is going to be equal to, x is equal to 16 weeks. And again, getting down to the very last step, when you have calculators, that's what they're for. You still have to work the order of operations. You still have to work the steps in order to get there. Calculators don't do problems like this for you. Number 17 says the perimeter of a rectangle 60 centimeters. This one looks familiar. Find the value of x. Perimeter is 2L plus 2W. Perimeter is 60. So 60 centimeters equals 2 length. Again, it doesn't matter which one you call length. 2 times 3x plus 2 times width. Call the other one width. 2 times 12. Simplify it. 2 times 3x is 6x. 2 times 12 is plus 24 is equal to 60. 60. Subtract 24 on both sides. When you do that, you get 36 is equal to 6x. And get rid of 6 times something by dividing by 6 on both sides. X is 6. So for that one, x is 6. Number 6 says 3p minus 1 equals 5 times p minus 1 minus 2 times 7 minus 2p. Okay, you're going to treat this like 2 different halves of an equation. You can't put 3p and minus 1 together. They're not like terms, so let's look at the other side. Work your normal order of operations. Undo multiplication, or distributed in this case. Now, not undoing it, I'm sorry, multiply. 5 times p is 5p. 5 times negative 1 is minus 5. Negative 2 times 7 is negative 14. Negative 2 times negative 2p, and negative times a negative is a positive 4p. We can still simplify this side. We can combine 5p and 4p and get 9p. And we can combine negative 5 and negative 14. Same sign, add up the absolute values, 5 and 14, you get 19. Keep the common sign negative. Now you can't put 9p and negative 19 together because they're not like terms. So now we have equals the other side, 3p minus 1. Now we have an equation that has variables on both sides. Bring the smaller variable, or collect your variables on one side by bringing the smaller one over. It's positive 3p. We don't want to separate 3 and p by dividing 3. We want to move the whole thing over. It's positive, so subtract 3p. If you do it to the left, subtract 3p on the right. 9p minus 3p is 6p. Bring the rest down, minus 19 equals, that cancels out, and you still have negative 1 on the left. So 6p is on the right. Move the other part over to the left. Undo minus 19 by adding it. If you add 19 to the right, add 19 to the left. Now you have -1 and +19. Opposite signs, you subtract the absolute values. 19 and 1, you get 18. And 19 is the higher absolute value. It's positive, so it's going to stay as a positive 18. Equals 6p. Undo 6 times p to get p by itself. And when you divide both sides by 6, p is going to be equal to 3. So p equals 3 for number 6. Number 7 is a simpler version of number 6. There's a left side and the right side. Collect your 4x over there by subtracting 4x. If you do it here, do it here. 5x minus 4x is 1x plus 5 equals, this part cancels out and you have 9. Undo plus 5 by subtracting 5. If you do it to the left, do it to the right. X is equal to 9 minus 5 is 4. X is 4. 8, you have to collect all your D's on one side, or they're all, you have to simplify the left side first. So put all your D's together, your like terms. 5D plus 1D is 6D. 6D plus 4D is 10D. Bring down your minus 4. You can't put those two together because they're not like terms. Equals 4D. Now, 10D is larger than 4D, so typically you'd move the 4 over to the 10 side. But since there's minus 4 on the left, we would have to undo that. Let's move the larger one over to the smaller one. It's positive 10D, so subtract it. When you subtract 10D on the left, make sure you subtract 10D on the right. Positive 4D minus 10D, opposite sign, subtract the absolute values. 10 minus 4 is 6, and 6 is the higher absolute value, so keep its negative. Negative 6D equals, there's still a negative in front of that 4. We want to get x by itself. We want to get D by itself, the variable. So undo negative 6 times D by dividing by negative 6. If you do it to the right, divide by negative 6 on the left. A negative divided by negative is going to be a positive. 4 divided by 6, the number 2 goes into both. 2 goes into 4 twice, and into 6 3 times. D is equal to 2/3. Number 9 is a two-step equation. Undo plus 4 by subtracting 4. If you subtract it from the right, subtract it from the left. Same signs, add them up, keep the common sign. Negative 10 equals x over 8, or x divided by 8. Cancel that out by multiplying by 8. If you do it to the right, do it to the left. A positive times a negative is always going to be a negative. This part right here. This part right here is going to cancel out and leave you with x. A positive times a negative is a negative. 8 times 10 is negative 80. X is equal to negative 80.